Hello and welcome to Not a Gamer Gaming. This is Genosis with a special video for you today. We're going to do a base build. Now, last time we did a base build, it was the easy 15-minute Horde base, and that video did quite well. In fact, it was our second highest viewed video ever, with nearly 5,000 views, which is actually quite good for a video of our size, a channel of our size. So, what the hell, let's do another one, but let's step it up a bit. Let's do something a little more intermediate. The first base was kind of designed in a way that, hey, you survived a week, here's a few things you would have after 7 days. Here's an easy base you can do in 15 minutes, just in case you didn't plan or you didn't have a lot of time. So we're going to plan by doing a 14-day Horde base, and I actually leveled myself up to where I'm about in 14 days in, around level 30. I ran around and looted a few things to get an idea of what level of quality things I would use, just so I can have a baseline advantage. Now, we're going to also assume that we spend some time building a base. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to use a dev gun, because what we're doing is not a survival thing, it's just a base design thing. So with that in mind, I'm going to clear this area and start working on kind of an intermediate base, something that takes a little bit longer to do, but would hold up quite a bit more than just a few hatches and some cobblestone. All right, now to clear the general area, what I'm going to do is going to grab some frames. Let's use the creative menu. Let's say this wood frame, I think is what we're looking for. There we go, there's the shape icon. Now we'll just have that stuff for later. These are all things that we legitimately looted throughout the area. I just kind of teleported into a few POIs to loot, just to get the right loot level. And I spent my points in kind of a strength perception mix with a bit of fortitude in there. So it's a very aggressive spec, not a lot of building, so this may be more combat oriented. All right, so first thing out, I want to have a pit around me. Like the basis of this base, which is kind of funny to say it that way, is that you're going to have a platform. Now you can start with maybe a 3x3 or 4x4, but I think we can go 5x5 just to give us some space to move around. And so we don't fall into the pit we're going to have. It's also an odd number, so we can funnel into one point in the center. Now we're going to have at least, I give it 3 blocks between you and the base, because we're going to want to dig underneath that. Because, spider, zombie, and all that business. So let's get a quick measure out of 3 frames out, right about there. 3 frames out here. And 3 frames out here. Okay, so I'm going to dig a trench, probably about 3 deep. If you really wanted to make it pretty, you would dig 4 deep and then do like a layer of cobblestone underneath, but we're going to treat this kind of like a quickie, so we're not going to spend too much time and too many resources. We've only had 14 days, and we probably spent a lot of time looting, so let's get the clearing. Okay, so we got our pit dug out here, so looking nice and clean. Yeah, well, not entirely clean. Actually, let's patch that up with some dirt. Right here, we've got some good old dirt. So the dev gun's a little aggressive. All right, so that's about it. So we could actually make some ladders. So let's just grab a few ladders. I mean, reasonable amount of ladders. And I'd like putting a few ways out, because, I mean, the zombies are not going to get their way out. At least they're not going to try to, but hey, if you fall in, you're going to want a way out. So I kind of like putting ladders to just a GTFO, which is fine. Okay, so even if the zombies get out, they're just going to fall back in the pit, so who cares? All right, so there's also a couple different ways to get into your base area. Actually, we're going to need to get over here. I mean, you could also obviously jump straight in. But why leave things to chance when there's likely to be a butt ton of spikes underneath? All right, first things first, I'm going to start by making this central thing more secure. Like, you're going to have to build something for zombies to hit, and this is just dirt, so that's not going to work. So we're going to go ahead and make a cobblestone. Actually, let's do cobblestone to start with. And why I'm starting with cobblestone is that we're playing it like we started building this way for experience, and then we're going to grab some cement, because we have some cement in inventory. And I have about the much that you probably find or buy from the trader, which is, I'd say, a reasonable amount. So just under 1,000, but certainly enough to upgrade a base of this size. All right, so let's get this all concreted up and ready to go. Alright, so now we got the center section all done. Now what we did, we made this all solid because, zombies won't want to get in. Now I did except for one little hole on the top, and I slapped a generator in there. Now I did have a schematic for a generator that I found along the way, so we can assume that we possibly could have built it. I'm not going to use it, but I'm just kind of showing you an optional upgrade. You can slap a generator in there, that's protected, and you can wire straight from there and have some electrical wiring or some turrets or what have you. Okay, now that we have the base here done, we're going to do something a little extra on top of this. Now, day 14, you're probably going to get some vultures. It's a possibility, and depending on how high your game stage is, you may get some cops. So we're going to build kind of an overhang. So we're going to start by going up at least 3-4 blocks and give us a nice bit of room to jump around, So I'm going to build this little overhang and then get some bars up and make it just a little bit vulture proof, and they give you some space to dodge the cop spittle, which could happen that night. Okay, so we got this initial frame here done. Now, there's a little trick I like doing. I'm going to use, what are those, iron bars? Center. No, screw that. Bars. Well, we'll start with wood bars. I don't want to give us too much of an advantage. Now, there's a nice trick I like to do is by doubling up the bars. So we start by putting the block on the interior. See where the outline is? So it's not sitting on top like this, it's on the interior. So when we do bars like this, like so, we can go ahead and continue flipping them around until they're flat. So that way it gives us double the protection. Now, if you upgrade these to iron, they're about 2,500 each. Now, with that doubled up, that's the equivalent of having reinforced concrete, which I believe is 5,000. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it's 5,000. All right, and we'll put some bars here for support, so if they destroy around them, that won't collapse. So that should suffice. So that's looking pretty good so far. Now this, again, wouldn't take all that long. You could probably do this in a day, depending on our digging skills. Now we're going to get some spikes. Now, I know spikes, depending on what kind of community you're in, aren't always popular because they're kind of an experience hog. Because what's going to happen is that they're going to fall in here, and if they die to the spikes, you do not get experience. Now that sucks. People want to use the Horde as a way to get additional experience. So that's the way a lot of people play, and I've adapted to that play ever since Alpha 17, I believe, when they started showing you how much experience you get with every kill. It's like, oh dude, now that I see how much experience I get, I want all of it. So a lot of people thought like that and still do, and I understand. But what I like to use spikes for is a line in the sand between them and me, because I would rather lose experience than my life. This is survival after all. This is not an arcade game. All right, so we're gonna ideally end over where, oh, that ladder shouldn't be there. Yeah, we're gonna end over there with a ladder. So we unintentionally planned it really well. So that's just how we do things around here. We plan things so well we didn't even think about it. Okay, so I'm just gonna put those last ones down, get up the ladder, and that's a good pit. Now I'm not even 100% sure this is gonna work. Let me just put a little platform here. And what I'm using right now is the wood fences and railings, and using the shape menu to get a wood fence. Because what can happen if you do an upgrade, and I think I have a hammer here somewhere. Let's grab that. If you upgrade these... Oh, I need some wood. Well, okay, we're going to assume we have some wood. Yeah. whatever. We can actually upgrade that to reinforced wood, up to iron, all the way to reinforced iron. That's a good 1,000 right there. You could do the same around here, but I just did this to hold up the hatch, because that would collapse otherwise. Little tricks. Actually, let's upgrade a couple of these, because I don't want that hatch to collapse if we get a cop spit, and these wooden things fall away right away. That's enough iron that we had, so that's fine. All right, you know, this is actually in pretty good shape. Like, this would defend well. Now, there is alterations you could make. Like, what we could do is further block everything off and then do a bottleneck. So that way we can control where the zombies come. But we're going to treat this like this is all we had. So it's still 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I started at the beginning of the day. But I'm going to advance time and see just how this holds up. Now, there is another alteration you could do. And it's a very simple one. And that's barbed wire fence. I could make, well, some. I don't have much of any iron, but we can assume that we're going to because it's really easy to get. So barbed fence. I'm not going to do hundreds of them, but let's say we crafted like 60 or so. So I'm going to do a bit of an outline around the base, just to give us a little bit more of an advantage throughout the night. Okay, so I thought to put barbed wire in front of the ladder. Probably not the smartest idea, but we're probably not going to use it, you know, probably. And I'm pretty sure that's not going to have any adverse effect. Like, they're going to stop right there. They can treat that, but I don't think they're going to break that down. I mean, I'm just going to do a quick upgrade, just to make certain. I think I have some cobblestone on me. Let's go grab some cobblestone. Just a little bit. Again, I'm trying not to grab too many resources to be a little unrealistic for a day 14 horde. I've had similar races to this, and we did just fine. So, again, I'm looking at this base, and I'm thinking, yeah, this will do. This will do. Now, I do have some concrete on me, so I'm going to upgrade some critical spots, mainly the supports and the edges where the zombies will try to get up. We're just about done here. I'm prioritizing the second level, the top level, where I'm going to be standing. So if they do happen to break a few blocks, that last block, in order to make some sort of a stairway to me, will be the hardest to break. We're also going to focus on, like I said, the second row, which is about their reach level. Okay, I'm going to have to step around some barbed wire here, get a little ouchies, which is fine. I got a few bandages on me. And there, I think there's one more section to do here. No, that's done. Okay, so I have a little bit left, but maybe we'll have time to apply some more and get some reinforced around the outer edges. But yeah, I think that's going to do for me. I'm going to advance some time and get my bars ready here to fight the horde. Yeah, I think I got enough bullets. I got a decent AK with a couple mods onto it. Got a baseball bat, some Molotovs, a handful of pipe bombs. And, ooh, yes, I got one of these things too. I got a, what do you call it? The robotic sledge. Now, I'm not even sure where to put this. Huh. I mean, I'm going to put this right about here. So just in case they decide to try to bang on that hatch, they're going to get banged back. So that's kind of the plan. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to start the horde and see how this base does. Again, this is an approximation of what you do in day 14. I know a lot of people can accomplish a lot more, but we're aiming for kind of the low to mid tier in terms of what you do for time and how much time you spent looting versus how much time you spent building. So let's get that horde started. Okay, I got some lights adjusted. I got some gamma adjusted on the secondary camera. Oh, bird started right away. Oh, hatches. That would be smart if I forgot the hatches. Alright, so zombies first of all. They're jumping straight in. Now, focus fire. Ideally, the first row of barbed wire is going to keep them at bay. Just watch out for vultures. And maybe try to get the last shot if they fall into the pit. Like so. Reloading. So yeah, my way in is working perfectly fine. Now, we're getting started kind of a cluster down here, so we're going to throw a Molotov. Because fuck those guys. Alright, so far we seem to be doing okay. They seem to be clustering up just one section, which is great because we love setting them on fire. Yeah, so they're getting in nice tight formations, which is great for that. Okay, that was wave 1. So far, not too much threatened. They're getting into the spikes, which is what we expected. And this little hatch thing is working, which is perfectly fine with me. Alright, looks like we got a bit of a reprieve, and then I imagine another wave coming shortly. Okay, so they're getting a little bit bundled up here. Ideally try to avoid that. Focus fire on that if that ever happens. And they'll generally try to attack the same section. So that keeps them all in one spot, thankfully. But if they do spread out a little bit, it's because something changed. Like all the spikes broke, and they're thinking the spikes are a way to jump up because they're treating those as blocks. Now, filling these pit a little bit more full of spikes would probably be even better. But hey, you know, it softened them up quite a bit, and we're rocking up the experience. Oh, let's use a pipe bomb. Actually, let's use it but throw it properly. That's more like it. I love these explosions. Boom. Ha! Can't stand on guys when you don't have any legs. We got another little reprieve here. That's not doing anything over there, so I'm going to see if I can grab it and try to find a better spot for it. Like maybe down here. That might get them. If they keep hitting that spot, then they get a little taste of the hammer. Ooh, hammer's patterning down there. I love it. I love that robotic turret. It is just fantastic. If you can get a couple of those with an intellect build, that would be really fun. But that's even better when you bottleneck them on one square. Then that will knock them off and start it all over again. It's kind of like one of those pathing cheaty bases, but without the cheaty. Here we got a couple levels so far. I think we have enough time to check our points. Since we're using the AK quite a bit, let's drop that straight into Fortitude to give us some extra headshot damage and reload time and all that fun stuff. Speaking of fun stuff, here's a fucking pipe bomb. Alright, got another little reprieve here, not a big deal. Halfway tempted to jump down there and grab some bags, because there's a ladder on the way out, but wave number 3 is about to start. So yeah, so far so good. I actually had a couple get over here somehow, so that hatch scenario is probably not going to do. So we may have to knock that down. But oh well, for now, let's make use of it. Huh. I wonder if Horde is actually over. I mean, it is day 14. Our game stage is 54. So, I mean, it's not bad. So, that, I don't know, that should have gave us a little bit longer of a Horde night. But I'm not going to complain too much. Managed to get all that stuff looted. Oh, did I find a second turret? Very nice. Another bag over here. So if this is it, let's take a look at our damage. So there is, let me get a hammer out here. Yeah, that's about half broken. So a couple taps, perfectly fine. Now if we got that all the way up to reinforced concrete, that would have only been a quarter. So that would hardly be something to worry about. Alright, so again, if I were to make any changes, I would say that we can do away with this hatch scenario and maybe use something a little better. Maybe just one hatch just to put down. Like, let's take out our dev gun and answer that question right now. Let's say if I didn't have that, let's say I got rid of that and just had that one hatch. Now I'm encumbered, so let me pop right over here, empty up my bags as much as I can. There. Okay. So we're running around, a little less encumbered. And, oh, one encumbered, hold on. Who cares? Brass knuckles. There. So that one lip might give us just enough to hop right over. Perfectly fine, very easy. Now, further alterations, what I would have also done to a next step is bottleneck them. That is, add a big old wall just over here on at least two sides. At the very least two sides. Definitely 3 high, so they don't attempt to break over. So that way you restrict where they can come through. actually, that'd be a good spot for a door. So once you bottleneck a couple of the sides, and then maybe leave like a 3 or 4 wide gap, and then funnel it out, you can really control them and where they're going to go. But this, again, is just looking for something very basic. Anyways, if this was a good design and something that you may want to consider using for a couple of weeks into the game, then feel free to give it a try. Let me know how it works. It's, again, not super complicated. It's not some sort of secret recipe for how to defeat Horde every time without even getting touched. It's just a build that you might want to use for yourself. So with that in mind, if you like that video, go ahead and press that like button, subscribe, and if you want to support the channel, we do have a Patreon over at patreon.com/notagamergaming. All right, have a good day, folks, and see you later.